Have you ever wanted to trade options but you don't have the time? Luckily, there is a way to do that. There is something called swing trading, meaning that you can buy into a contract and sell it 2 hours later, a day later, a week later, 2 weeks later. But the hardest part here is finding a perfect setup. I'm gonna be showing you my exact setup and my exact trading strategy when it comes to swing specifically that I have close to a 90% win rate with. So if you're ready to check it out, let's get into it. All right, so let's go over my exact trading strategy when it comes to swing trading. Now, normally when you're scalping and day trading, you're usually taking trades that are super quick. Right now over here, I'm on the 5 minute, and as you can see, if we were day trading, I would probably enter here and I would get out here, which is literally like a 20-minute time frame, if that. Whereas with swing trading over here, I'm actually on a 15-minute time frame. My entry was right here and we didn't sell until here, which is about nearly 3 hours later. Now, swing trades, like I mentioned, can vary from minutes to hours to days to weeks to months, but overall swing trading is taking a trade and leaving it and letting it do its thing. Now, the first trade setup that I like to trade, I'm going to show you. This is called Crowd. The actual stock is called Crowd, not the trade setup. The ticker is CRWD, as you can see here. And before I get into the exact strategy, I do just want to preface that I don't really like swing trading the bigger stocks like Apple, SPY, Meta, all of those really big stocks, because they tend to have really bad Greeks when it comes to long out. So I'll give you a quick little rundown of my swings watch list. Now, this changes almost every single day. I'm watching something different, but these are all usually on my watch list at least 1 to 2 times a week. So as of right now, I have CRM, CCL, Plug, BLDR, EFX, SOYB, Wheat, and Gold. The reason I trade certain stocks like this, like I said, is because of Theta and Delta and all the Greeks and the Gamma and whatnot. So one of my favorite setups to trade is breaks of liquidity. Now, as you can see here, Crowd this morning opened at 150.85 and touched 151.13. After that touch of 151.13, we absolutely plummeted, going all the way down to 147.76. That is a huge move, and it is essentially a fair value gap that can be filled. Now, I do not trade the fair value gap of these setups. If I were to trade the fair value gap, I would have taken it somewhere down here and I would have traded it all the way up to here. Now, with these liquidity setups, most of the time when they get swept out super hard like that and they're able to recover back to that same level and push above it, that means that there's a lot of interest. Now, you'll notice that the exact same thing happened over here, and I actually missed this trade. I probably would have taken it and I probably would have held it and still made even more money because I would have had a slightly lower entry. But when I was watching this setup form and I saw that the exact same thing happened before that, it gave me extra confluence. So now at this point, what I look for when I see the setup forming is a break of this exact level. It really depends on the setup for me. Sometimes I like to see a break of the level and then a pullback and bounce off of that level, but a lot of that times when you have a lot of pressure, that doesn't happen. So I ended up taking calls right around this level here, and as you can see, over the next few hours, it absolutely exploded. And I'll show you guys in my Discord, I literally alerted this whole trade, so you know that I took this trade. I alerted Crowd 152.5 calls at 80, and this was the expiration date, which was 1 day expiration. Now, most of the time I have expirations that are a few days out for my swings, but for this specific setup, I knew that it was going to be a quick move up, and worst case, we swing it over into the next day. Now, within the first 45 minutes, we caught a nice little 13% move, which was okay, but as you can see here, we did have a slight push up and a pullback, so that's why it was kind of slow the first 45 minutes. And now, as you can see from the rest of this, we absolutely ran to 232% on that swing trade. I sold it the next day at around 10:32 Eastern, 7:32 here in LA, and we took the profit there. Now, the next trade setup I want to show you is going to be ENPH. As you can see, I am on the 5-minute time frame for this trade, and this was something very similar but a little bit opposite in a sense. I saw ENPH had a huge move and a huge rip up off open on Tuesday morning. I really don't like to chase these things because you never know how high they're going to go when they're explosive like this. So what I did is I waited for a pullback. Now, I stayed extremely patient with this pullback because, as you can see, this is on 5-minute time frame, but it took a pretty decent amount of time for this same thing to happen where we go down and we build back up, right? So we came down, we had a really nice pullback, and we started to form a cup and handle essentially, and we started to form some really nice bottom end support. Now, right here, when I noticed the bottom and I noticed all of this bottom end support, this is where I started getting interested in the trade. I saw some really nice moves up, so what I did is I grabbed this tool and I drew a line right up here, which was the last liquidity sweep out. And again, my entry was to buy right here. Now, you are probably thinking, Dylan, that is such a shitty trade, but the good thing about swing trades is that you don't sell them immediately. The contracts move a lot slower, so you have a lot more time for the trade to go your way. So what did I do? I stayed patient. I had my stop loss set just under 169 here, which was this previous level. Obviously, if we break this, we're most likely just going to tank. So I set myself up super comfortable with my stop loss here. And it was a long day of waiting and a long day of being scared when we came close to this bottom out here, but we ended up doing it, and we had a crazy massive break above this level, and we had almost a $10 push-up, which is absolutely insane. And again, I will show you how simple this trade was for us. I alerted EMPH 195 calls at 85. This was expiring a week out. As you can see, I alerted it on the 30th, and this is on the 9th of the next month. Higher risk. As you saw, we had a nice little bit of a pull-up before we tanked, so we got to like 20-ish% just before market closed. And then a few days later, as you can see, we hit a 269% bag. I actually stopped looking at the stock. I actually kind of just forgot about it because I set my stop loss, and I also set an alert on my phone for it to trigger a certain price. And when it got to the certain price, it never triggered an alert for me for whatever reason, so I didn't even see it until somebody in the chat said, yo, this trade's going crazy. I'm banking, I'm making so much money. And I looked at it and we crushed 269% on that trade. Now, was this a bit riskier to play with? Absolutely. But when I am confident in my swing setups, there is nothing that stops me from taking a trade as long as I have the right things set in place, such as my stop loss and my targets. As you can see, both of these trades were just absolutely perfectly executed. I trimmed a lot up here. We had a nice little pullback, and then when we kept going, that was when we got that explosive 269%. And as you can see, these contracts just went absolutely insane. Hope you guys liked this video, and I hope you learned something from it. If you're interested in getting even deeper into options trading, I do run a Discord like you saw. I alerted every single one of those trades, and they were bangers. So if you're trying to make some money, you're trying to learn all about options trading and how to become a successful trader yourself, click the link down below. The spots are very limited. We also have a free trial, so if you want to try it out before committing, cancel anytime, go check it out down below. Love you guys. Peace out.